We're getting there. Where is it? This one. Okay. So we'll talk about this. So we got, I've defined 2 points, A and B. A is 3, -1. B is 7, 5. And then I just by typing A and B, it plots those points. So if you just put in the control 2, it'll plot it also. But this is a way to now you can anytime you want to use that point, you can just put the capital letter in, and it'll substitute that point in. So I want to talk about. I've written this next command line here: 1 minus t a plus t b. So what I want you to do is talk about what is this going to accomplish. Okay, so have a discussion, reason about it. What will be accomplished by the line 1 minus t point A plus t point B? So you're going to talk amongst yourselves. Oh, close your laptops. Don't put it in and look. So again, we're reasoning. We're trying to figure out what we're going to get with that line. Okay?
Does the X mean you have the graphic yet? Is that the X mean?
What's that?
Does the X mean you have the
Yeah,
graphic
so
yet?
well, yeah, I've turned off the graphic.
And those are the 2 points. Okay.
Okay, so what are we going to get? And justify your reasoning.
Oh my gosh, just so obviously as t increases, so if you throw your initial point 0 t, you're going to be at the point A because you're going to get 1 times A. Where should I start?
Well, t is going from 0.
So we're going to start at A, and then as t increases,
I mean 0 and 1, sorry.
see that's when the product of 1 minus 0 So you're asking about A and B. So
Yeah, but I was
here before your t is 0, so
talking at 1.
put 0 in, 0 times t. You just add the plus or 0. So like add the 2 and then that gives us A, right? So we start at A, and then as t increases, 1, 2, 3, 4, so on. We're going to be getting closer to the value. Exactly. So the unit of A, the units of A which you see it's gotten smaller and smaller, while the units of B will start out small, but they're approaching those values of 7 and 5.
So that was creating a line just changing.
And then the addition of the 2 of them will get us closer to point B because we're going to get an x coordinate and a y coordinate.
Like for example, this is the point A. Okay. So that would be something.
Okay, so what are you guys thinking here?
So I mean, 2 of us should already.
Yeah.
Then you have half of 3, which is 1
When you said you graphed it already, what do you mean? Like,
I did the plus.
oh, you've already looked at it.
Yeah, so I worked
There's a
it.
whole thing and then,
Okay,
yeah.
that's fine. No.
Well, I just didn't read that
Well,
until
so-
after.
We have an x, we have an x.
I found out later.
Right? That's what we have.
You guys think here?
So A is at the point 3, B is at 7.
So, any progress?
So what's happening is that
It's what? Vectors endpoint traces this way from A to B. What's graphing calculator going to do this? Alright, graph that.
This program and that in one of my internships I was able to use it like for really basic stuff like first grade. So
Which point will
it Yeah, I used it for like 6th grade, but it was just like
What
big
does
grades.
T do on graphic calculator? T is structure, right?
Like, yeah, this is all.
Spare points.
It's still like. Yeah, GeoGebra.
T0.
Now they have
Which points? So when you say points,
Points that make it
Well, like it starts at A, T is 0,
my English teacher
Oh, really?
well, because I can tell you what I want to do.
Because when you add to
relative to the 2 points in the graph.
So they're constantly talking about and one of those automatically know if there's and then all the time never put me on.
So ask for the numbers and asking relative to the points that you for the T was 0.5.
Okay, I know.
Okay, so you're just gonna kind of walk around and go to different classes. And
Go to different
yeah, they didn't really want, it's like after like halfway through the semester, the teacher will like,
I think you're in this point. Find out.
So you can hear lessons.
yeah, but every day, I didn't do it. Last semester, or not last semester, I guess I did.
We were discussing about all these kids. I was like,
Yeah.
and last year I was I love dealing with my kids. Hey, you stop. You know, I love that. And then the semester goes again. I didn't learn anything.
I'd say it's like the easiest ones, you know, because they kids are better.
Honestly, it's more about the teacher. Because I was on that's way out.
Yeah. Still think about it?
I didn't learn anything because she had like
You did have a good position?
algebra and she teaches graphic things.
Yeah, my last one was really good though, because the teacher, like, the department meetings, she would do like parent-teacher conferences.
It's 10 minus 1.
Oh yeah, that's
Really helpful.
So it's 9.
Showed me everything, like talking about what's happening. 6th grade is like Eames also, so they have like all the pressure.
I know they're pushing talking because I want to go back to that issue. That's the first one.
How does it give you the segment? That's the question. How does it give you? Why? Or how does it do that?
I like their limits 30, they're like as long as you for me it's still not.
Yeah, I don't have car anymore. I have to be able to ride my bike.
Okay,
I was
still,
excited.
how does it give you the segments? So,
Segment
So-
between the points?
yeah, so
From
is that what
T
you
as
think
T
it is?
as
Is that
T
what you think it is?
increases?
Okay, so,
It gives
why? How does it do that?
Yeah.
It takes in, I didn't want
They're like vectors.
Okay. Okay, so it's not what I'm looking for. It's, I want you to be confident about what you're saying, that you can say something you feel confident about.
well, I was trying to explain to Marty was that our values are of t is ranging from 0 to 1. So the way I saw it was is that 1 minus t and a, that's the product of 1 minus t. and then you have the product of t and b.
Okay.
So what I was thinking as is, so when t is 0, you get to point A.
Right.
And when t is 1, you get to point B.
Okay.
And all the values in between t, as t increases, you're going to be changing the values of A. Like so, like if t is 0.5, you're going to have 0.5 multiplied into A, and 0.5 multiplied into B. And some of those two, like the x with the x and the y with the y, we're going to give you points that will meet along
You're
with
talking about t equals 0.5. What will you get points for t equals 0.5?
You'll get an individual point.
What point will you get when t equals 0.5?
Yeah, you'll still get A plus B. Just like that.
What point will you get? Will you get a? Will you get b? Or will you get something else?
You'll get something. You'll get something else.
What will you get?
A point in between A and B.
Which one?
Midpoint.
Is it? You're asking me. Is it or not?
Midpoint. Exclamation
How do you
point.
know?
Well, you're using 5, so it's halfway between.
Okay.
Because you're like B is your like biggest one. It could be is your smallest.
Okay.
So
When you get into that, you play two dimensions, so when you get half, that's like.
Good. Good. Okay.
thank you. Thank you.
So, many of you realize that by plugging in 1 for t, or sorry, t equals 0, clearly you get a point. What point do you get? When you plug in 0 for t. You get point A. When you plug in 1 for t, you get B. And so from there, sometimes the reasoning got shaky. So what happens then for values of t between 0 and 1? What does it, so let's start with 0.5. You put 0.5 in for t, what will you get? So I'm not asking for numbers, but what, so if we put in 0.5 for t, then what do we end up multiplying a and b by? Both by 0.5. Okay, so what points will that give us when t is 0.5? Okay, somewhere in between. Can we do better? The midpoint. How do you know? Half of a plus b. So half of the x coordinates divided by 2 or times 0.5 would give you which x coordinate? Halfway between, right? Halfway between. And then half of the y coordinate of a plus half of the y coordinate of b would be like the y coordinates added divided by 2. So that would also be, which y coordinate would it be relative to the y coordinates of a and b? Okay, halfway between. So what about if t is 1/10? So, one more conversation at your table. What happens when t is 1/10? Go. Talk about when t is 1/10.
So the distance you see from the x and the y, the distances will be added. The distance for x from 3 to 7, the distance is 4. So if t is 1/10, then 1/10 of 4 should be 0.4, right?
Whoa. Gee whiz. I'll try one more time. If t is 1/10, what will happen? So how about that table back there, Frank and Jocelyn and Andrea? What'd you guys come up with? T is 1/10.
If you have 1/10 and you do 1 minus 1/10, that would give you 9/10.
Okay.
You have 9/10 of point A.
Right?
And then you have 1/10 of point B. So 9/10 of point A is almost A. So you would have a point that is 1/10 away from A. Sort of.
1/10 of the whole line segment.
Yeah. 1/10 of, yeah.
Okay. And so we could break. So points aren't values. Okay. So but what your reasoning is good if you just substitute your point for x coordinate and then y coordinate. Does that make sense? So we can't take a 1/10 of A. A is a set of as a pair of coordinates, right? So we can take 1/10 of the x coordinate. Of which one? So it would be 1/10 of the x coordinate of B and 9/10 of the x coordinate of A. So the resulting x coordinate would be, where would it be? So along here, where would that be? We're taking 9/10 of the x coordinate of A and 1/10 of the x coordinate of B. Okay? So can we say it without just saying a value? So how far do I go? 1/10 of the way. Similarly with y. Okay? So with y, what's going to happen?
You're going to go 1/10.
1/10 of the way. Okay? And so there's my point. We said 0.5. We reasoned that 0.5 would give us the midpoint, right? Okay. So it does, in fact, give us the line segment between the two. Okay, so this is a powerful thing. This is an analysis. You see this as all the points in between two elements of a domain, okay, or two elements of a set. Gives you everything in between. And so this is really helpful if we're working with multiple things and we want to keep t from 0 to 1. We don't have many parameters of t that we can assign this one from 0 to 1 and this one from 2 to 10 and this one from -1 to 1. So what we have to do is we have to make them all of our statements involving t, which could be different things that we're plotting, have to work from 0 to 1. And so this technique is very powerful for that. Okay, what do these two functions have to do with each other? 1/4 x squared plus 5 and g equals 4 cosine x. Have anything to do with each other?
You can combine them together.
Okay, so what about this next? Take a look at that. See, predict what's going to happen. N, so I'm going to let n change from 0 to 1. Just, it's taking the place of t now. But I'm gonna, instead of plotting all the points, that's what t does, right? T plots every value. I'm gonna do them one at a time as n varies from 0 to 1. So what will it do? Go, see if you can make some kind of conjecture about what's gonna happen as I turn this on and I change n from 0 to 1. Don't do it. Think about it and talk about it. Okay, go.
Well, it oscillates because the cosine oscillates.
Well, I'm not the contract.
Right. Well, depending on what n is depending from 0 to 1 and fraction. It's already a quarter.
We did 1/10, right?
Yeah,
So
but yeah,
1/10. So 9/10. 9/10. So it's like a weighted average. It's like we're taking 9/10 of the coordinates of A and only 1/10 of the coordinates of B.
Okay. Yeah, so why wouldn't it be further away?
No, we're putting all the weight on the coordinates of A. It's just
Oh, okay.
So it's almost
like
it's
that.
almost A. 9 times of A is
Right,
almost
almost
A.
A and a little bit of B. So is that going to be here or here?
It's gonna be further from me.
Yeah, it's
Or
gonna
I
be
mean, the
closer.
9 times, yeah.
Right. The x coordinate's going to be 9/10 of it's going to be from this x coordinate and 1/10 from that. It's going to be here. Yeah, think about it as a weighted, it's like a weighted average.
Oh, it's this one.
Yeah.
Okay, so when n is 0, what am I going to get?
Okay, you're gonna get 4.
What do you guys think? What am I going to get when n is 0? 4 cosine x. So 4 cosine x? Okay, so what's going to happen when I increase n to 1? I'm going to increase n to 1. Okay, so f of x is, what about f of x? What's that?
If the cosine will go away, what about parabola? So if n is between 0 and 1, is that what it is? Some f is just 1 right now. Right.
Right, n is 0 right now.
And now, but now it's
So we have cosine.
N is 0, so I'm showing
4 cosine.
what's going to happen when I increase n from 0 to 1. Jason?
It's gonna like morph into the other one to like slowly like fade into the other one.
He wants to morph into the other one. At n equals 1, what am I going to have?
Just yeah, both.
So if I slowly change, what's going on here? Okay, talk about it. What just happened? Talk about it.
The values of parabola are stronger.
So tell me about this function right here. N equals 0.15. So what's going on with this function right here?
Less and less.
Slowly going more towards
So here's one particular n value, 0.41, and then I'm picking an xy. I showed you the crosshairs, right? If you click on a graph, you get crosshairs, and it gives you the coordinates. So here's for n equals 0.41, I got the point 10.9375, and the corresponding y, 14.175. So what is that? What is that ordered pair? What is this particular function about? This one? N f of x plus 1 minus n g of x. You see the similarity to the points? Before we were using t to show all the points at once from 0 to 1. Now I want to show them one at a time from 0 to 1. Right now I'm putting n at 0.41, which was like t, 0.41. So I got 0.41 times the first function, 1 minus 0.41 times the second function. And then I'm picking this point right here. X is 10.93, y is 14.175. Here's n equals 2.5. Or 0.25, sorry. What does a point on this? So this is a particular function, is it not? This is a particular function. What is this function? Where does it come from?
Well, I don't know what you have then.
Right now it's 0.25.
So that would be. So it's a point for an input value like 15 of x. The
Okay.
output is going to be 0.25 of the way from our cosine function to the parameters. The height of that point is going to be. It's easier to explain, like, so if you had n of 0.5, it'll be halfway between the output for the.
Okay. Right. Yeah, good. Anybody else? Questions, comments? So Jason was exactly right. So it basically gives us a whole family of functions that's morphing us from one function to the other. Okay? Right now we're mostly which function? 0.25 is n. So we got 0.75 of these coordinates, these y coordinates, plus 0.25 of the parabola coordinates to get our new y coordinate. Okay, so this is a very important, you got a couple questions on your homework for Wednesday where you're going to create some stuff in Graphing Calculator utilizing this tool. Okay, another part of your homework is graphing regions. So let's try this. No, let's try something else. Here we go. Here it is. Okay? I did this in 4 lines. A blue line, a red line, a gray line, and a black line. Okay? The gray line is the key, and the key to it is I did it in one command. In one command, I was able to shade the gray region. Okay? Got 8 minutes. See if you can do it. And you reproduce that right there with 4 lines. Especially just one line that's going to shade the region.
Can you give us the line?
Nope. You got all the info you need. Work together.
What is the black though?
It's just to give you that point. The purpose of the black is just to give you that point so you can graph the red line correctly.
Yes.
So you don't need the black point. It's optional.
You got that too? She's saying maybe 3/4.
That's the
Just
other
one
one.
half of 3/4. How you have this. What you had. Look for the homework. We did line equation.
I'm thinking about the finding my function. Middle graph. We can find it. One of the like to find it.
No commas. No commas allowed. No commas allowed.
So
In one line. No, just the shading. way that you're going to get that shape.
Just in case. Who's gonna get it?
Yeah.
Just like a look at
You do the app, whatever is less than 3.2. This one.
For regions, you see the difference between including and non-including. Maybe every point.
I can't grab it right now.
It's not bad.
It's not going to grab it. So all you're doing is just, if you put like a text in there, all you're doing is
I think you. Did you lose the control?
Yeah, I did.
They got it? What's that?
I mean, I kind of get it, but it's just there to represent the function.
Yeah, it's. Well, did you do control 9 for these?
Yeah.
You went F control 9.
Oh, no.
and X. Well, there's a problem. You need control 9 for functions. It's a call 3. Good. You don't select functions of this. You just graph the lines. Just graph this y lines with big.
Why is it and then, oh, okay. So, we have to.
Okay.
So that's what I was saying before, is if you do f of x is equal to something, in one line, all you're going to do is choose.
So you're grabbing above 3/4 x and also below that one. I mean, to give you what you asked.
Oh, what you can enter, once you graph it, you enter.
Above 3/4 x.
So
Below that. So this is a L3 thing. In order to do this in one line.
Well, are we doing this with pure lines or?
Okay.
Yeah, it just goes on.
Let's do,
So is it a define a
oh, it's minus.
Okay, so some of you are starting to get to the using the inequalities. Why can't I say y less than this? Why can't I say look at the y coordinate and say below? Why doesn't it work? Why can't I say y less than? What's that?
That one and that one.
Okay, so you get too much.
Yes.
If I just want to say y less than this to here, and then y less than this for this one over here, why doesn't it work? We could do it in two statements. This is the whole thing about doing it in one statement. You could do it in two statements by looking at y less than this line, y less than, is this 4/3? Y is less than 3/4 x, comma, x is less than whatever the intersection is. That'll give us half of it. But then we need a new line. And we got to do y is less than, what, 5 minus 2x? Or x greater than that point. We want to do it in one line. So Anybody know how we're going to do this?
I'm guessing it involves t and 1 minus t.
Nope. Remember your Calc 3?
This is the arrow thing.
What's that?
This is the arrow thing.
Yeah, type 1 and type 2, right? So what is, remember?
That's far than.
Okay. Look at it this way. Look at it in terms of x coordinates, not y coordinates. Instead of looking at all the y coordinates below and all the y coordinates below, it splits it up. What can we do with x coordinates? What's that? X is between what? Those are x is between 0 and 2.5.
No, x is between 3/4 x and 5 over negative 2.5 x. 5.
Here's x between 0 and 2.5.
Well, because you have the two lines, and so if you put the original they're crossing, but if you're going along the x-axis, your x values are ranging from that 3/4 x line
Okay.
all the way to the 5 over negative 2.5 x plus 5 line. So those are your x values.
So this is the graph of what? Y equals 5 minus 2x? And this is? But all these points down here are what? X is less than the x coordinates of these, but greater than the x coordinates of these. What are the x coordinates of the points on this line? 4/3 y. And what are the x coordinates on this? Y minus 5 over negative 2. So how do we get all the x coordinates in here? We want all the x coordinates that are what? Whoa.
So
Sorry.
the third line be the 4/3 y is less than x, which is less than the y minus 5 over negative 2.
So x has to be greater than this, but also at the same time less than this one.
Yeah.
Did it work?
Yeah.
This is the x coordinates on our red line. X has to be greater than those. And also x has to be less than or to the left of all the coordinates on our blue line. X coordinates on our blue line. And that gives us the gray shaded region. Anybody have a question? Okay, if you haven't started the homework for Wednesday, get started early. It's challenging. Okay? And you've got two files to send me, 2 graphing calculator files to send me. One relates to that t thing that we just did, and then one relates to these regions. Get started early. Okay, we'll see you on Wednesday. Yeah.
Why did you have to write it?
I just grabbed the point. That just grabs the point.
Oh, okay.
That black point that I had to show you with the red line where it went through.